Okay, I think this is going to be a pretty cool video. Um, a little more involved than previous videos, not a review per se, but a comparison between a couple of watches that are all sort of related from Citizen. I'm a huge fan of Citizen. I have too many of them. If you like Citizen, or if you like, Seiko and Casio, the big three Japanese watches, you should consider subscribing because I do plan on making more and more videos. I finally have a setup that I like, that my hands don't hit the camera. It's awesome, and I can see what I'm doing. This is an amazing thing. So, in front of me, I have 4 different chronographs from Citizen from different eras. 3 of them are very modern, kind of recent, and one of them is a vintage watch. And I just thought I'd give a little comparison and contrast. They're also related to this watch right here. That one is. Yeah, so let's dig into it. This watch right here is the only vintage watch on the table. Let's get that up nice and close. This is based off of, or this uses the 8110 movement. It's the only automatic watch on the table, and it is Citizen's first automatic chronograph. In case you aren't aware, automatic movements go back to like the 40s, and chronographs go back, I think, around that much time. But it's difficult to make an automatic chronograph, and the 2 big companies, Seiko and Zenith, are the 2 that have claimed the title for doing that in 1969. Citizen wasn't far behind. They came out with the 8100 and 8110 movements at the same time in 1972. I think the 8100 just didn't have an extra sub-dial, like an extra accumulator. This one does. So this is a pretty significant watch. To my knowledge, it came out in, I think, 7 different varieties. This one's my favorite. That's why I have this one. Silver dial with these really cool, slick orange and like mint green accents here. I've been looking to get a new crystal. I think that'll clean this up a lot. It's a base steel with like nickel plating. And by today's standards, it's a smaller watch. Let's see, what do we got here? Plastic calipers say 38 millimeters. That's about, yeah. It's not a tiny watch. And that's 40 lug to lug. And it's pretty cool. It doesn't have a running seconds counter. And what looks like a sub-dial down here is actually a date window. But that's the seconds accumulator, and that's the, seconds, minute, hour, yes. And along the chapter ring, you see the minutes here. It doesn't have a running second hand anywhere, but it's a pretty cool kind of watch. Either this one's broken or it never had the ability to manually hand wind it up, but let's see. Yes, it's not working. So, yeah, maybe I should have done that before I pressed record, but it does have, it works. I don't think it's the most accurate one that I have. I've been meaning to send it to service, but all I want to say, there we go. And if we let it go long enough, we would have the other accumulators run, and upon resetting, all 3 of those hands all snap back nice and neat. It is a classic watch. It's one worth hunting down if you're a big fan of Citizen. Nice solid links, 72 bracelet here. I really dig this watch. What else did I want to say about? Yeah, so 7 different versions. There's a version that's like black coated and the dial is green. There's definitely a gold plated version with a gold dial. I think there's a gold dial that's on this kind of background. And there are versions that look like, pretty sure there's an all black version, and then there's like a panda version, one of these 2. Suffice it to say, classic watch from 72. For some reason, I've encountered people who are surprised to hear that Citizen makes automatic watches. They probably make more than most companies. They're huge. They own Miyota, and they have a long history of automatic watches. I think they don't tend to bring them to the United States, but around the world, they're still making them and selling them to this day. They're a huge automatic watch manufacturer, and they have a long history of making some really impressive pieces. And if you subscribe, I have a whole bunch of really cool Citizens. But this video, I wanted to compare and contrast the 72 creation with this. I don't think it's 2022, but I think it is 2021, 2020. Should we do this chronologically? Because chronologically, it would be this guy here. I think 2019, maybe 2020, 2019, Citizen came out with a line of watches that look sort of like this. They came out, I think, 4 or 5 different steel-cased versions, and there were 3 different titanium versions. The only titanium version that came to the United States has like a green dial. There's a flat black dial, like black on black, that's available outside of the United States. And there's this guy. This one is I think my favorite, the hardest to find. Reverse Panda. I always get my reverse and my normal. These are reverse Panda, right? Right? Reverse, and that's Panda. No, that's reverse Panda. So this is just Panda, an ugly Panda with 4 spots. But this is an import, a really cool watch, and it's in some ways inspired by this guy, in that the movement normally on a chronograph looks like this, where you have like start, stop, and reset. But they rotated the movement this way, and as an homage to this. So people call this, the nickname was like the Bullhead chronograph, because they look sort of like horns. In Japan, I see this referred to as like Mickey Mouse. I haven't heard that in English speaking, but it seems to be a Japanese kind of thing, because the ears are on the top. So 2019, Citizen came out with, as I said, I think 4 or 5 steel versions. Some of them are on straps. Some of them are on bracelets. There's like a red accented one, which looks really cool. Blue dial, black dial, everything you can imagine. But there's the 3 titanium versions. This one is my favorite. I just totally dig this watch. In case you're not familiar with this movement, it is the caliber 2100. That's a really special movement from Citizen. I got this guy right here, same movement. You can kind of see, if I rotate them, you see how what's at 9 o'clock here is at 12 o'clock there. That's the power indicator. That's how much energy's left. You have the 3 subdials, date. It has, what makes it special is it has an alarm, which is not like accurate to the second. It's accurate to within a minute or so. It is an eco drive, but it's a mecha quartz. And to my knowledge, it's the only solar mecha quartz movement that any company has made. So Seiko has mecha quartz movements, but they're not solar. They have solar movements that are not mecha quartz. Casio just doesn't do that stuff. And outside of Japan, solar is few and far between. But you have this really nice tactile feedback, this really nice high beat second hand. Love the way that feels, and that instantaneous snapback. So mecha quartz, the portion of the watch that controls the chronograph is done a la a mechanical watch, but the engine behind it is more of a standard quartz. So you get all, like, I think the best of both worlds, honestly. That's something you can't convey through a camera. How that feels, like nice, tactile, clean, really cool watch. It's a bit of a large watch though. Yeah, 43. Yeah, and it's not just 43. Everyone likes to say every watch wears smaller, but that's a watch that wears larger. This watch right here, the steel version, is not just large, but it's just way too heavy. So I feel like you kind of have to get this watch in titanium. Look at the size of that crystal, really thick. It is sapphire. It's a cool watch. This pusher right down here pushes on and kind of toggles the alarm on and off. You could see that. If I pull it out, kind of not smart to do that when it's on your wrist, but you can see I can move this fourth hand here, and that's the alarm hand. And yes, it'll go off twice a day. Makes a little beep. And maybe if I timed things right, I could have scheduled that for the video so you could hear what that sounds like. But this is a really special watch. It's not just special, it's a large special watch. Yeah. And it is 16 millimeters thick. So a big watch, but in many ways an homage to this guy right here from the 70s. Just the same orientation. Now, this watch wasn't the first one that came out with the caliber 2100. I think this watch was right here. This is a steel watch that came out in like 2008. They've actually re-released this with minor changes. It's available in titanium. It's a couple of different dial versions, but you can kind of see that they took the movement in this and they rotated it this way. In case I didn't mention, the movement in here isn't just a solar mecha quartz. It's a handmade one. It's a hand-assembled one. So it's a premium Citizen product, and I think that's absolutely beautiful. Some people call this the Ron Swanson, Parts and Rec. He wore that. So, yeah. Put that aside here. So that's this watch, the homage to this. Homage. But in 2021, Citizen reissued the watch, and they reissued it in 7 different varieties. And I think they reissued it in all 7 of the original varieties of this. There may be some slight changes there. I've seen this in like a red dial version, an orange dial version. When you get to watches this old, there's a lot of redials out there. I don't know what's original. I don't know what is redone. But most of the older versions of this watch I've seen in this. So I've seen there's a reissue of this which has this silver dial and these like mint blue and orange. There's an all black version, so like this, but with black subdials. That's one of 2 different like regular production versions. This guy is the other of the 2 regular production versions, the Panda version. And then there's 5 special editions, and the special editions, if all 7 are only available or were only available in Japan. And the special editions, those 5, were only available at specific stores in Japan. So this watch and the all-black watch you could buy, I don't know, direct from Citizen. And the other 5, you had to go to specific stores. So I kind of, when I ordered mine, Journal Standard, I don't know, that's one of like a clothing or one of their partnership. I think of those 5 special editions, 2 of them are from one store, and then there's 3 other stores that sold those other special editions. The details don't matter. There's a good link I might be able to include. But yeah, one of them is all gold dial, gold plated. One of them is gold, but it comes on a Bund strap, which is a little weird, but it's a nod to Brad Pitt's character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, that's the movie. There's the black IP version with the green dial, whatever. There's 7 of them, and they're all kind of cool. I have heard other people say, like, why is this watch so small? But it's designed to be a reissue of this original. The case isn't exact, which I was surprised at. I thought if they went this far to make an accurate reissue, they would make it exact. But it's a little different. You can see there's some curvature at the bottom here. This is flat. The bracelet's cheaper. It's folded, and it kind of has a double like fold over, you know, not like like a clasp like this that you know, it comes completely detached, right, like that. But otherwise, it's a really cool watch. It does have a okay, there it is. It does have a running seconds hand. The placement of things is differently. The minutes accumulators here, the hours down here. Interestingly, this is just a pure quartz. It's not even eco drive. That's another thing that has been sniped at. I think, firstly, you have to remember this was only released in Japan for a reason. It's a smaller watch, tends to be more popular there, which is a shame. I wish more small watches came to the States. But that's kind of the decision-making process. What do we got here? We got 38. So it's faithful in that regard. You see the pushers are like these mushroom pushers. They're not quite like these barrels here. But for the most part, it's a pretty faithful recreation. This nice glossy black bezel, which kind of has a lip. It flares out on the side here. You can see it kind of goes out like this. That's exactly what the original does. The standard versions have just like 5-minute counters on the rehot there. Although some of the versions have a tachometer, like the reverse Panda. I'm not a pro at this, so tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. If I'm moving too fast, too slow. I think people like seeing watches on wrist, right? That's what you're supposed to do. You get in trouble, you don't do that. So I have a 7.5-inch wrist, and you know, if I put this close to the camera, it looks too big. Further away, it might look small for a lot of people, but I think it's incredibly comfortable. It is a little thick for its size because it's the original was. It's pretty faithful in that regard. It is a snapback. Now, why did they use a regular quartz movement on this? Well, you got to remember, what movement would they use? Citizen makes a lot of watches, but I don't think they have an automatic chronograph like on the shelf that they can just use. And gee, what's the cheapest automatic chrono out there other than a specific Chinese movement, which the name escapes me? You know, they're over $1,000. That's just the nature of automatic chronographs now. That's entry-level luxury. It's probably a Hamilton of some kind, right? And I think it's like $1,500. This watch, at least when it came out, was the equivalent of $250. So what was this? 12 mil thick. 12 mils thick. And this is 14. So the actual chrono, the actual automatic is 2 mils thicker, which makes sense. There's a lot going on inside a watch like this. But I think if their goal is to make a reissue that's accessible, that they actually know how to make, and they want to make it in this size, they probably don't have a ton of movements laying around. They probably didn't even have an EcoDrive chronograph movement that would fit this case size. So that's my guess to why they did what they did. And their goal here, number one, I think, was make a watch that accurately, you know, homages this guy. And I think they succeed. The proportions are a little off. The case is a little different. It's not mechanical, but their second priority was to make it at a reasonable price. And that's just not going to happen if it's automatic. It just can't. So, yeah, I think any of these watches is an awesome buy. If you like vintage styling, and you like modern quartz reliability, and you like only spending a couple $100, generally speaking, these are not going to be $250. They're hard to get into the United States. I don't think they had a big run. They're not hard to find, but you're going to spend some time on auction sites. Any site that sold it at like a store, those are pretty much sold out. But a couple $100, you could pick these up. I don't think these are sapphire. Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm pretty sure they're not sapphire crystals. They're just supposed to be fun watches. If you're a Citizen fan, perfect. If you're not a Citizen fan, but you're a vintage watch fan and you just want like a daily fun watch, I think these are great. These are both the conservative options, other than the all black version. The green dial version and the silver with the blue accents, those are a lot more fun and a little harder to find. This one's hard to find because it's the reverse Panda. It has that really cool, fun distortion there. So I would not say anything wrong about getting these two reissues. If, however, you like a larger watch, and you can appreciate the engineering that went into this, the Caliber 2100, the handmade EcoDrive Mecha Quartz, you really can't go wrong with one of these. As I said, 3 different titanium versions. So I didn't even say the model numbers. Okay, I'm not like a professional. I just own watches. I'll put them down below. This is like the AV something something something. These have tags on it, so yeah, that's the AN3660, and yeah, all the different watches in this line are AN3660 something 0, 1, 2. Just do a search for all of those. And this is the 8110. And in case you're interested in this, this is the AV0020 and AV0021. Those are the two different color dials, and then the 30 and 31. And they reissued it as the AV0080 and 80, whatever. That's why we have descriptions. I'll put all that stuff down there. Okay, I just wanted to give this very brief 20, I don't know how that's 20 minutes, 20-minute overview of these really cool, fun Citizens. You may have seen one of these, you may have seen some of these, but maybe you never saw them side by side. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Pretty cool. All of these really awesome watches. Really glad to be able to make a little video and share it with you. If you like these watches and you are not annoyed the fact that I took 20 minutes to explain something kind of simple, and you like, Citizen Casio Seiko fun watches, this is really only the start. I have way too many, and I plan on making a whole bunch of fun videos comparing and contrasting old, new, high-tech, low-tech, whatever. Like and subscribe, I guess. I don't get any money. I'm not trying to. It's nice knowing that somebody watches when I spend 20 minutes on something. Okay, thank you so much. All right, bye.